What's up, YouTubers? It's Miss Sorensen with Finite Mathematics, our first video, our review video. Shall we get started? I think yes. The basics. What is the mean? Well, the mean is the average. So for example, if we had values x sub 1, x sub 2, x sub 3, all the way to some value x sub n, maybe that's your 50th term. How would we find the mean? Well, we would add up all those values all the way up to the last term, and then we would divide by the total number of terms, n. Okay, what's the median? Well, after ordering your data, it is the middle. And oftentimes this is really the best indicator of data. So for example, if I had already ordered my data, and I've had something like this, to find the median, I would cross off the low, cross off the high, cross off the low, cross off your high, and you'd be left with 7. The mode is the data value, or data values, you could have multiple modes, that happens the most. So for example, if I had 2, 2, 8, 5, 8, 9, and 11, we would have 2 modes. We would have 2 as the mode, and we would also have 8 as the mode. The range is going to be the max value minus the min. So in our example above here, our max value would be equal to 11, and our minimum is 2. So this would be a range of 9. The interquartile range, we're going to talk a little bit more about that later, but the IQR is going to be the Q3, quartile 3 minus quartile 1. Note the quartile 3 is the 75th percentile, and the Q1 is the 25th percentile. Again, let's talk about that a little bit later. What is the minimum? That is the lowest value. What is the maximum? That is the highest or the biggest value. What is Q1? The lower quartile. Well, I'm going to show you how to calculate that in a little bit, but the Q1 is going to be the 25th percentile. And again, the Q3 is going to be the 75th percentile. Again, I'll show you how to calculate that in just a little bit. Let's talk about Tukey's 5-number summary. Okay, Tukey's 5-number summary is all about displaying 5 data pieces. You can either state it or you could give it in a box plot. What's a box plot? This right here is a box plot. So let's go ahead and I'll give you some data, and I'll save you some convenience by ordering it, but make sure that's the first thing you do as soon as you get your data. Order it from lowest to greatest. So let's get 2, 7, 7, 11, 12, and we'll go 14 and 18. This could be the number of tomato plants you have in your garden, and so maybe Che has 2, and you know, I'm a big tomato person, and Kara is 2, so she has 18. Did you know that Kara likes tomatoes? Should I keep that in mind? All right, let's go ahead and let's find our Tukey's 5-number summary. So we've got our min, we've got our lower quartile, which was also our Q1. I want to find my median, and I want to find my upper quartile, which is my Q3. And last, I want to find my max. So let's fill this in. What's our minimum going to be? Obviously 2. What's our maximum going to be? 18. Let's go ahead and find the median. I'm going to go low, high, low, high, low, high. We've got a median of 11. Change that to black. Okay, we've got a median of 11. Now, how do we go about finding Q1 and Q3? I promised I'd show you that. We're going to do the same thing, but we're going to find the median to the left of our median. That's going to give us our Q1. So to do that, I'm going to cross off my low, cross off my high, and then I'm left with a median on the left side of the data. That 7 is going to be my Q1. All right, go ahead and see if you can do it on the right side. That's right, I'm going to cross off low, cross off high, be left with this middle one. This is my Q3. Now, if I ask you for Tukey's 5-number summary, all I'm asking for is this, and that's the correct answer. If, however, I ask you for a box plot, I need you to do so. And what I need you to do is create kind of like an axis on the bottom here with consistent values. So let's go from 0 to 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. Do I need to go up to 20? I don't. Oh, so I want to kind of keep it here. I'm afraid if I get rid of that, it's going to erase the whole thing. So I'm just going to keep it like that. So let's go ahead and plot our minimum right here. The min is going to get a point. And you don't necessarily need to put a point here, but I do. You've got your Q1 is at 7, so I'm going to put a line right there. Median is at 11. And our Q3 is at 14. Last but not least, we've got our max right here. So once we've done that, we can go ahead and create our box in the middle. Oops, I've lost my 18. Go ahead and connect that. And connect that, and that is your box and whisker plot. Notice that this is your min, this is your Q1, this is your median, this is your Q3, and this is your max. Now, what does this mean? If this is your 25th percentile, that means that 25% of the population scored below a 7. Now, what about the Q3? Q3 is the 75th percentile, meaning that 75% of the population scored below this value right here of 14, right? Our Q3 is 14. So that's what Q1 and Q3 means in terms of percentiles. All right. All right. Let's go ahead and move on from this. All right, I just want to do a quick shout out to some situations that might come up with finding the median. Notice in this situation, this is what we've already dealt with so far, where we actually have the median in our data. We would pretty much ignore or get rid of this, and then we would find the median of the left side. That would give me Q1. Same thing here, find the right side median, which would give me Q3. But that's not always the case, okay? See here, where if we found the median, it would actually be in between these two values, giving us a median, or a Q2, if you will, of 14. So in this situation, you actually don't cross anything out. You actually just find the median of the left side, which would be in between 6 and 12, okay, giving you 9. Same thing here. You would keep the 15, cross, 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 and you'd be in between 18 and 22, which would give you 20. All right. Another shout out real quickly to Q2. What is Q2? Well, that's also the 50th percentile, meaning if you score at the median or the Q2 or the 50th percentile, you've done better than 50% of the population. Basically, you are extremely average. Congratulations. All right, here I asked you to create your own box plot. Don't worry about it because we're not in class, but if you'd like to try, you can ask your friends for your own data. Let's do a quick review of this. Find the Q1, Q3, and the IQR. Just a reminder, the IQR is the Q3 minus the Q1. Is this data already organized from lowest to greatest. No, it is not. You have to be careful of this. So we have to make sure we do that. And so here I go. This is going to be a 1 first. All right, I like to cross them out just because it helps me. Then I've got a 4. Okay, next I've got a 6. Okay, 2 7s. An 8. A 12. A 15. And a 22. I like to cross them out because I always feel like I forget one if I don't. So now let's go ahead and find the median. So I'm going to cross. Didn't ask me for the median, but I don't know. I kind of like to do it. So the median is 7. However, we need to actually find the Q1 and Q3. So I'm going to go ahead and cross, and I'm actually left with in between 4 and 6, which is going to be a Q1 of 5. Let's go cross. Oh, I'm left with 12 and 15. That's going to be a little trickier. 12 plus 15 divided by 2. That's going to give me 27 divided by 2. And that is, of course, 13 and a half. Okay, so this is going to be Q3 of 13.5. So now let's go ahead and find the IQR. So the IQR is Q3 minus Q1. That's going to give us 13.5 minus 5. And that is equal to 8.5. And that kind of gives us an idea what the spread of the data is, and we'll talk more about that later. All right, let's talk about histograms. So a histogram is just a way to display data. And to do this, we have to notice that we've got our frequency on the left, or on the y-axis, and then what we're trying to represent here, in this case, it's feet on the x-axis. And notice there's a title. And notice we're also talking about what our units are here as well. Kind of minor things, but really important. So these are test scores. So I'm going to go ahead and draw my x and y axis. And we only have a maximum of 4 for frequency. So I'm going to go from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And sometimes I like to go 1 above that. And this I'm going to label as frequency. Ooh-wee. Guess I can't write sideways on this. Oh. I'm struggling. Bear with me. Pen. Okay, frequency. I try to get all fancy, but it went haywire. So there's my frequency. Now on the bottom here, it looks like I have a low of 25. So I really do need to include that range from 20 to 30. So I'm going to go from 20 to 30, 30 to 40, 40 to 50, 50 to 60, 60 to 70, 70 to 80, 80 to 90. Do I have anything over 90? Yes, I do. I'll need to extend this to my 100. All right, next up is counting the number of frequencies. We've got only one frequency for 25. So that's going to range in the 20 to 30. Okay, next up I've got a 70 to 80 range. Well, how many of those do I have? It looks like I just have 2. So I've got 2 of those. So for my 70 to 80, I'm going to go all the way up to 2. All right. And then I've got how many 80s? Looks like I've got 4 of those. So I'm going to go all the way up to the 4 area there. I'll pretend that that 90 is right there. And go like that. Let me erase this and maybe that. Oh my gosh, I've just changed it perfectly. And then last but not least, what's our 90 to 100 range? It looks like we've got 3 of those. So I'm going to be up at the 3 range there. We need a title. And so I would say the title of this whole thing is going to be test scores. And then we are going to put a label on my x-axis. This is going to be scores, and maybe I'll put points. And if you want to say maybe out of 100, that would be good as well. All right, so that's an example of a histogram. We'll talk a little bit how this one is actually an example of a right skew. Excuse me, a left skew, because you can pull the left tail, but we won't talk about that till next time. Thanks for watching. It's been a real pleasure. Join me next time for video 2. Thanks so much.